Hello, hello, hello. It is Monday. Monday fun day yet again. All right. Now, um, last week we talked about a couple of things. So I hope you caught up because like I said, I want to take you with me. I'm trying to take you somewhere with me. I promised in the very first episode that I'm trying to take you somewhere, but I don't want to scare you. So I'm trying to take you there slowly and we don't want to give too much too fast and use big words and all those things that we've already agreed that we didn't want to do. This is an interactive show, so you get a chance to say what you want to see. You get a chance to talk and say what you want more of an understanding on. So I want to say we don't have the usual props today, but we do have a PowerPoint presentation I want to show you. Hey, Daddy Lee, how you doing? Tell Mama Charlotte, hey. Glad to see you guys here today. And remember, if I'm going too fast or I say some words that you don't know and I didn't define it yet, just let me know what it is. Hey, Bobby, what's up, bro? Good to see you. Tell that queen of yours to holler at me. Holler at me. Come on here. Okay, so um, this is what we have today. So, once upon a time, change was not as slow as it is today. You're not going to like this, but the time in history when change and research was at its highest state of implication or practical use was during Hitler's reign. I'm not agreeing with Hitler, but Hitler conducted a lot of immoral research that advanced science really fast. That's why a lot of the things that he did was implemented really fast. I'm not in no way supporting immoral research or what Hitler did during his reign. Okay. A lot of past studies have some dark crap lingering in the closet. I'm not saying the large number of people involved in the studies advancing things. So I'm not saying that. So just be real clear. That's why I wrote it down so we could be extremely clear on what it is I am saying. So back then, change took place far faster. And of course, those people did not have a choice. And because of the way those people in the past were treated, modern studies have had a bad stigma or what we call an ongoing reputation, bad reputation. But if we want change to take place faster, we must have a lot of people involved and direct the changes. And that's why I'm here trying to help you understand why I'm saying, hey, can you guys participate in some of these studies? But I'm also showing you exactly how. And that's what today is about. Hey, Teddy, thank you. Thank you for being here. So, you have to understand what is going on and why is um why is things so slow? Why is change so slow? And a lot of people have been asking, why is change so slow? Understand the narcissistic immoral experiences. Yes, and that's why. And let me explain. You see, that's why nowadays change is so slow because they have to be moral about their studies. And when I had the teddy bear and the owl here, we talked about placebos and the reason why we have things like placebos because it's a moral clause that we have to implement. So, because of people like Hitler who experimented on people and it was not morally done or ethically done. So we now have to be very careful about the way that we conduct studies. But that doesn't mean don't participate in the studies because you're afraid that it's going to be immoral or you're going to be mistreated or something like that. That's why I'm trying to show you here now how you go about this. When I told you to go back on their business web pages and tell your story, tell your testimonial, go on your social medias and tell about your lived experiences, but do not slander, meaning don't say their name. You could give the location and you could say that that's where you worked as an employee at one point and now you don't work there anymore and you could tell why you don't work there. So go back. I urge you, please go back and watch those videos because those videos are taking you somewhere where you want to be. And the reason why is because this is a part of what's stressing us. This is a part of how we can control or manage our stress. And that's what we're trying to do is have mental well-being, because mental health is physical wealth. Let's remember that. So now that I put that extra, reminded you, brought you up to speed, let's proceed to the rest of the show. Okay. And again, go back and watch those shows, because I don't want you to say that I took you there too fast. Okay. I don't want you to say that. Now here um, we have Zamir, Gertwitz, Chang, Hang, Zhang, and LeVay. They conducted a study which I talked about previously, which has sociological distress and communication quality in military couples after deployment to war. That's the title of it, and here's where you can find it. That's the DOI number where you can find this particular study. Now, what you would like to do is this here is what they call the this is what they call a preview, a sneak preview of what is in the study. Okay, it says previous research has found elevated levels of psychological distress, i.e., post traumatic stress, depressive, and anxiety symptoms. That's what we were talking about in one show called PTSD. And it says this among veterans. And that's why it's so relevant in these times, because we're a lot of us have a high association with someone who is military affiliated or government workers. Hi, Sean Anthony. Thank you for coming. Okay, so it says existing theory and evidence show psychological distress is associated with marital disruptions. It's a lot of people in the military who have marital problems because of PTSD. Now, if you think it's a problem just with the job, it's not just the job. So, only a few studies, though, have ever tested the link between uh, psychological distress and couple communication quality in the military couples. And again, that's why I'm saying that we need to participate in these studies. If we don't participate in these studies, then it can't be more widely known. It can't be more um, fixes for the problem. And a lot of people are going to say, well, that problem doesn't exist. And they're going to say various things. And it's going to be really disruptive to the change that we all desire to see. So what they're saying here is that they were only able to secure 228 couples. And a lot of times it's difficult, especially when you're military affiliated, because a lot of those military positions, the family members cannot communicate with one another because their job security levels, and the spouses have to be understanding that there's some things you're just not going to be able to say. And that does open the door for a lot of people who have some camaraderie in different ways to express their feelings in a different way, which does open the door to a lot of infidelity, cheating in the marriage. So it's a lot of things that this is a lot of room and opportunity to learn more and explore and fix some of the things that's wrong, and at the very least understand. Okay, so we talked about a lot of post-traumatic stress disorder in various episodes, not all at once. So I don't want to overwhelm you. So what we have here highlighted, you can see where it says that it was a post-traumatic stress disorder, and this study is showing that they're not just observing the post-traumatic stress, but it's other things that they are observing in that. So you can see depression, you can see anxiety symptoms. And if you continue to read just a little bit further down, you'll see where it says actor partner. That's what they're saying, is that the person who participated in the study is self-reporting. They're explaining their experience, but a lot of times people do not know what they're supposed to report. So some of the stuff goes unsaid that should be said. That is why we have these episodes about these studies and participating in these studies, because it's vital for you to, even if you don't think that it's important, like I told you, to go back to those companies that you quit the job. that company now has a high turnover rate. And turnover rate means when people quit, they just quit, they quit, and it's voluntary that they quit, and they were not fired. So don't say that you were fired if you were not fired. Let it be known that you quit, and let people know why you quit, because that is vital towards change, the changes that you want to see. And if you look further down, you see um, that the spouses are being involved. So it's not just one person, the person who the target is, it's the people who they are most closely associated with, such as they spouse, their children, they family members. It's everyone. It's a village of research that needs to take place. And without these particular people participating, we won't have the change that we need as fast as we would like to see it. And the idea is for us to get the changes we want to see. We want it now. We're tired of saying, oh, I want this to change. They know what they need to change. They need to do this and they need to do that. But you have to understand uh, this is a process, and the process is in place because of people like Hitler, who took advantage of people and made people do things that were immoral. It was unethical, and it killed people. But they had questions, and they were like, I got to find out the answer. And it's currently, yeah, who's gonna stop me? So it's like now they say, okay, well, the good has to outweigh the bad. And that's why a lot of people are able to test stuff that can still be harmful, but it's in an ethical manner. And that's why people have to get your consent. So you have to agree to take part in these things, or else it won't take place. So yes, you have to make sure that you are well covered so that you can reestablish that sense of um, trust about what it is that you're trying to have people who are in the position of power to make these changes, what we call risky decision making. You have to understand how to get this to manifest for you so that you can live it instead of constantly being in dark mental spaces and thinking that, oh, free mental health is going to be the end. It's going to be the panacea. The panacea means the cure all. It's not going to be a cure all for everything that's impacting you negatively uh, in a mental dark place that you're in, because if we don't participate, if we don't understand how to make these changes happen, and how to make them happen more quickly, but reasonably, without hurting people, without causing damage to people. So if we don't know how to do that, then we won't trust to be able to participate. So the change will continue to be slow, if at all. Okay, so that's one of the things we need to understand. Change doesn't have to happen in your era, in your time frame. It could wait for your kids. It could wait for their kids. It could wait until there is the participation that's required in order to manifest this sort of change that's inevitable. Change is inevitable, but it doesn't mean that it has to happen in your time for you to benefit. But if you have faith and you participate in these studies, and you're going about, you're watching these videos, and I'm showing you, taking you through the steps on how to see when things are going on and what's going on, then this change can happen in our time. In our time. And we don't have to just look at our kids and say, I planted that seed for you, son. I planted that seed for you, daughter. We don't have to say that. We could get it in now. So participate. Hey, Jackie, I appreciate it. And this is going to be deep today. So I know you caught up on the episode. So this is not going to happen too fast for you, but some people it might. So hold on to your seats. But remember, you can watch anything that I've already posted. Okay, so from last week's show, I spoke of a few things, and PTSD was just one of them. So now I'm following up with a little more info. I give a little at a time so not to overwhelm people with information. Now, let's move on to something new that I wrote around about this time a few years ago. So here we could see where I wrote about preventing workplace incivility and misbehavior. And I blew up the screen so you can read it for yourself. Well, we can see that there are studies that's taking place, and people are writing about how to make this change happen. And incivility means misbehavior. It means Machiavellianism, people who are all up in your business, and it ain't relevant to them. How about that? We'll put it that way. So we have incivility and bullying and hiding information that people should know about. I'm leaving that there so you can see it and read it a little bit. And also you can always go back and pause so you can see even more. Now, what is this about? I'm showing you and not just telling you, so you can see it for yourself. It's a lot of times where people will say things and they're like, well, you say that, but I don't see it. I don't see it. So I'm showing you. And I don't know the limitations. So while I'm showing you, I'm showing you what I've done as well. So I'm not putting anybody else on blast, so to speak, as we would say. So don't be mad. Don't be mad. I'm trying not to put people on blast. Now, how do we do this? Okay. Constant open communication between all employees is vital for thriving companies. And all companies want to thrive, right? And a lot of companies, what they consider thriving is not just being national and being local or a couple of stores in the same state, or a couple of stores throughout the North America. They want to go global. So a lot of companies have different mindsets of what it means to be to thrive. What are we saying here? We make sure we give you reference. Yes, you have to have reference because, like I say, I tell my sons all the time, you listen, but you have to try to find out for yourself. So that's why these references also have other references on there. So you see, um, we're going to get into that. So you see down here at the bottom where it says Phillips 7, 8, 19. This is when I wrote this. And I do believe it's out there so we can still understand. Now it says the present. Okay, so let me first say we we need to get an understanding, and once we have an understanding, we'll talk more about it. So please ask questions as we go along, because I know some of this stuff like 5 point Likert scale survey with 5 to 10 questions. I know that can be a little bit questionable, but hang on with me. I'm gonna take you through this, and we're gonna get through this. We're gonna get through this. So this is what should I expect. So that screen showed how. This screen shows what you should expect. Okay, so this is an example of the first survey of a job that you may be participating in, trying to get the change that you want to see to happen. Okay, so the first question it may ask you, it'll say, uh, you feel communications are adequate on the job, and you have to pick if you agree, if you highly agree, if you disagree, if you do not know, if you agree, and if you highly disagree. So, what does that mean? A lot of times we get confused because we don't know what this lingo is saying, but note that there's a comment box there. The comment box is there so that the person who's doing the study can understand why you selected the answer you selected. If it does not have a comment box, I can understand you being like, oh, I can't take this out. What is this? This is a bunch of BS or whatever you want to say. But you still need to help and say what you feel, so make room and make time for it, because a lot of times at the end of a survey they'll have a comment area where you could say all of that in that one location. So here we have it at the end of this one question, which is more helpful in my opinion, because it does allow for change to take place far faster, because there's an understanding to be had after each question. For example, somebody might say, communication. These people don't talk to me, they talk at me. And you can put that in your comments. Tell them, They don't talk to me, they talk at me. That's not communicating. Let them know that you are mindful, that this is not how this is supposed to take place. Because a lot of times people think, well, we don't know their education level. That is why a lot of times they ask questions concerning how educated you are. But that has nothing to do with how mindful you are. So there's a difference. So they may think that someone who only has a high school diploma is not as mindful as someone with a PhD. But a lot of times in the situations that I've been raised in, to be around a lot of my elders, they don't have a PhD, but they speak more eloquently than some of the people of with a modern PhD. So I'm not knocking it at all. Whatever way you communicate and convey your level of understanding, they need to know. So you have to put that in the comments so they'll know that regardless of what your education level was notated being, they know that you are mindful nonetheless. Okay, so the next question says, um, your job expectations are realistic. And it's asking whether you highly agree, whether you disagree, whether you do not know, or whether you agree, or whether you disagree, you highly disagree. Now that's important because a lot of people are saying, well, I don't know what the expectations are. I haven't been told. Put that in the comments. Put that in the comments that you were never told what the expectations of your job was. Put it in the comments and say, no one ever told me. Who is supposed to tell me? Ask questions. This is your opportunity to ask questions because someone's going to review these things and they're going to say, what? What is it? Why is this person unaware of who should be telling them what these expectations are? And again, I highly encourage you, since everybody's already on social media, putting themselves out there and letting things be known. Put it out there that you don't even understand. No one's ever told you what the job expectations of your job is, or let them know that you do understand your job expectations. And this supervisor is so wonderful at their job that it makes you want to come into work every day because whatever their leadership style is, they may have a participatory leadership style, and a lot of people really like that. Or they may have a flexible leadership style, and a lot more people prefer that. They want you to have where you come in and you're not just active and telling them very detailed directions, but you also doing it. You knee deep. You elbow deep. You in there with them in the trenches. You know that's the kind of leadership style a lot of people appreciate. But studies have to reflect that so that there's an allotment so that the supervisors and everyone has the flexibility to do that, has the permission. So everybody needs the permission, and these studies will help to make those changes happen right now. But you have to participate, and in order to participate you have to understand what this is. So I'm trying to explain that to you. So the third question is, um, you have the work tools you need to complete your task. You either highly agree, disagree, you do not know, you agree, or you highly disagree. And again, there's room for the comments. Now, some people may say, tools? I didn't get no tools. They didn't give me any tools for this job. What tools are you talking about? Put it in the comments. Say it in the comments because a lot of times people just think that that's the I understood of the situation and they don't tell you what the tools are because they believe that you're supposed to already know out of thin air or from having experience that your resume says that you have. Okay, so be careful what you're saying on the resumes. They actually expect you to have that. Don't be the one that hides behind willful ignorance to justify purposeful incompetence. Comment and fix the issues. Yeah, yes, that's a good summary. It's kind of blunt, but that's the gist of it. You have to make sure that if you're not saying it, they may think that you do not know that this is happening. And when you quit your job, they'll be like, oh well, that person was just lazy. That person didn't want to work anyway. That person was a problem. And they'll say things that will tarnish your reputation. Uh, yes, I understand, but I like to try to be try to find a really nice way to say things, and a lot of times that does leave me tripping up on my own tongue. But the Bible says, "With love and kindness have I drawn thee," and I try very hard to be nice, and I try very hard to be kind, because I think we can understand a lot better if we're kind. And then when you take my kindness for granted or for willful ignorance, that's when you'll find you wasn't ready for this. So I don't want to lead with that. I don't want to lead with being, you know, passive aggressive. I want to try to be nice. And then if my kindness is met with more kindness and understanding, hey, we in the door, we good to go. So what I'm saying is we need to make sure that these people know how mindful you are. And if they don't know, they will assume that you don't know. They'll smile in your face. And a lot of us are tired of them smiling in our face while stabbing us in the back or tarnishing our reputation or missing out on that promotion that we highly deserve or taking the credit for what our intellectual property afforded us. They're taking our credit. So we talked about that in different episodes, and that is a trigger for some people. Well, you better play with that monkey because I want to see it. Okay, so back to what we're saying here. Okay, so here's another survey. So that was the first survey. This is the follow-up survey. So you have to make sure that you're following up, because a lot of times that one survey wasn't enough. And I know a lot of us get tired. I don't want to do another survey. I don't want to this. I don't want to that. Say that in the comments. Put it in the comments that you are tired. You don't feel like your voice is being heard. Put it in the comments. We have to write and make, thank you, write it down and make it plain, because if you're not doing that, that validates them not making the changes you're trying to see. That validates them saying, well, you're not mindful, you don't even know what's going on. You know what's going on. You know they got you up in there working hours and working above your pay grade, and you're not getting paid, but you're doing it because, oh, I thought I would, show that I'm ready for promotion, I'm ready for more responsibility, and I'm ready for more money. But that's not how it works. So I'm trying to help you to understand. I'm gonna blow this up so you can see it a little bit better. Okay. For this survey, they're doing a follow-up. I don't know what the time frame may be, but just for this example, maybe a month later they do a follow-up where they ask questions to ensure, that means to make sure that you as the employee are feeling like your voice is being heard, that you are being taken seriously, and it's to aid you to feel like you are valued at your job, so that you do not quit the job, so that the company has the ability to thrive and not just survive. And then they can meet those goals that they call um, global goals. So let's read this. Okay, so I'm going to blow this up in a different one so that you can see what the survey says. Okay, so here we have question number one. The clear directions in meetings make me feel more comfortable at work. And again, you have your options, and that's highly agree, disagree, I don't know, and that's not going to be good on your supervisor. If you don't know, you agree and you highly disagree. Now, the problem here may be, I'm just going to give an example of what you should be putting in the comments, because you may feel like, oh, I can't say that in the comments. Yeah, you can. If you say meetings, is that what these meetings are supposed to be about? I didn't know if that's what these meetings are supposed to be about. I'm in there catching a nap because I know all this information and I don't know why we are in yet another meeting. And a lot of times I have seen that, especially during the pandemic, where they are recording these meetings because the meetings are taking place virtually. So a lot of us had the opportunity to see that there's a lot going on in these meetings, and people feel like they can do that and it's justified because the meetings are irrelevant. The information in the meetings are irrelevant, but nobody knows that in order for it to for change to take place, because We're not participating in these surveys. We're not putting it in the comments. We're not writing it down. And let me tell you, when you write something down or you have it in an email in any fashion of writing it down, when you have that information, don't delete it. That's invaluable. That's money. That's money in the bank. So don't ever delete that. Keep it. That's your paper trail. And you need that paper trail. Even if it's a recording. If it's a recording, you have your own recording. All right? Always. So back to number two. Well, now that we've talked about the meetings and the reason for the multiple meetings, and you need to say that. How many meetings should we have? Okay, say that in the comments. I only want to have X number of meetings, and you need to tell me everything in that meeting or provide a suggestion of what other way they could talk to you instead of being in a meeting. Okay, the question number two, you received better clarity of your job expectations this month. And again, some people may say clarity. I still have questions because the person who gave me the information that was supposed to give me the information said it in such a way that it left too much room for questions. That happens on purpose a lot of times because people, they either don't want to work with you or they only want to do enough so they can say that they did what was required of them, even though they know it was not sufficient to manifest the desired outcome. For example, if someone tells you, okay, you got to work in this section this week, and you're like, well, I've never worked in this station before. I've never worked with these people before. I don't even know these people's names. I don't even get along with that person. What are you talking about? And then you don't tell me what it is exactly that I'm supposed to do. And they should tell you verbatim exactly what you are expected to do. I don't care if you feel like they talking to you like you a baby and gaga goo goo. They are supposed to break it down to you in such a way that nobody has any room for any more questions. The only even the Bible is written so that a fool can understand it. So there's no way that any company, any business organization should not be breaking it down to you as the employee to the point where you can perform at the level they expect you to perform. So if there's any questions, do not say you agree. Not say you agree to the fact that there was clarity for this. Don't say it. Put it in the comments. And if the only options are there is 1 through 5 that we have there, do not say agree. You say disagree until you have the understanding that you need. And it's not about it's not an attack of your intelligence. So don't think that it's an attack of your intelligence. It is something that is necessary. We need this and we need to understand. And the third question says, uh, you were recently given better tools to complete your task. Now, some people, again, may say, I don't even know what the tools are that I'm supposed to have. So, how do I know? So, you could say, if I don't know, it's not there. You could say, disagree. That will mean that they will come to you and help you understand what the tools are. This is not a negative reflection of your something that's going to make you get fired. This is not what this is about. This is something that's going to help the company be better. So you have to understand that. Don't be afraid to answer these questions. Okay, and the fourth question is the tools required to meet the company expectations are always readily accessible. Sometimes the tools that you need, there's not enough of them. So it's not always ready. It's not always right there for you to do what you have to do in the time slot that you have to work in your hours, your 8 hour shift or your overtime or whatever it is. And a lot of times that means that you do have to work overtime. You need to say that. You need to say, well, the tool, we don't have enough tools. There weren't enough tools, or I didn't have the tools. So that left me unable to complete my task in the manner in which I was supposed to. Or um, now I have to work OT and I don't get paid for it because we didn't have enough tools. They need to know that because when the companies understand why your job satisfaction level is the way that it is, that's when they're going to make changes, because they don't want high turnover rates. They don't want you to quit because they need workers. They're hiring workers to meet the supply and demand. If the customers have this high demand, but they don't have any workers, which is a lot of times what we're seeing in the pandemic, we're seeing a lot of companies don't have the people to fulfill these orders. So these requests are going out for this product, but there's no one there to get it to the people. There's no one there to package it. There's no one there to assemble some of the things that need to be assembled, and we don't know what's going on. So they're like, they'll give you some BS excuse why shipping and all of this sort of thing, but really the problem is the job satisfaction rate was so low, people quit. People are quitting. And that's one of the reasons why we need to understand, why are people quitting? How are people quitting during the pandemic when everybody should be working? They don't know because you're not saying anything. And this is how you say it. Even if you don't have the opportunity to put it into a survey, because you weren't asked or given the survey or given the invitation to participate in the survey, put it out there. This is what I mean by tell, tell. Go on their websites, go to wherever it is you can put your voice to make your voice known so that they understand why this is happening. Because right now it's a phenomenon. That means it's an occurrence that's happening across the globe, and everybody's trying to figure it out. So you can help. And this is why you should care. Okay, everybody wants to know, why should I care? We are currently in the great resignation era. What does that mean? That means we're in a great I quit situation. Everybody's quitting their jobs. Change is slow without your help. Desirable changes are expected but rarely effectively communicated. That means we don't know what you're saying. So, an agreement requires unity of multiple people, organizations, gender, and communities, whatever it is. We all need to be on one accord and say what these things are that we want to see happen. And some people are afraid for various reasons, and that's understandable because people don't want to lose their job. People don't want to get they don't want to conflict with cancel culture, which is really strong right now. But how do we learn to trust? This is what we're talking about. That's what I'm talking about here. How are we going to learn to trust so we can tell, so we don't be afraid to tell them and participate in these surveys? Okay. And what you have to understand, that last one right there, obligation despite your emotions, follow through to count. You have to understand, you're gonna be triggered. You're gonna be triggered. And when you are triggered, you have to understand that, man, despite how I'm feeling right now, I know how important this survey is. I know how important this study is. So I'm gonna participate. But you can meet me outside. That's fine. That's fine. Because they bought it on themselves or whatever the case is, but you have to keep the eye on the prize. Regardless of your emotions, regardless of what you do after the fact, you have to keep your eye on the prize. This change is what we're all asking for, and we all want this change to take place, but we don't know how. And we're so frustrated that there's a great resignation in a time where there's also a great depression. A lot of people are not saying it. They're not saying it because they don't want to speak those things that be not as though they were. But it is. It is so that we are in a situation where we're like, oh, we can't make it. We can't make it. How are we going to eat? How are we going to pay our bills? How are we going to do this? How are we going to do that? And there's no supplies being given so that we can do what we need to do so that we can have what we need. That's what it's mean by depression. We don't have the money, we don't have the resources, we don't have the manning at these positions and organizations in order to make these things happen for you. And yes, like Jackie said, we have to stay focused on the goal. The goal is to get these changes to happen right now in our time because we're mad, we're frustrated, we're having incivility in the workplace where people are going postal at the workplace. And now it's in the schools, it's in the malls, it's in the stores. People are in dark mental places. And how do we get out of that? We have to rebuild that level of trust so that we can trust that our voice is going to be heard if we say something. Nowadays, people are getting the news to come out and broadcast the things that they're doing, but they're trying to do that so that people will hear their voice, but they're not hearing them. And then they go on social media and they'll put on a big old long message about how they're going out here and they're going to do XYZ, and they're trying to be heard, but nobody's listening. We need to get back to a safe place where people will listen to what we're saying and implement those changes before we ever get to these places of violence in the workplace or violence in community spaces that we're all trying to enjoy in the movie theaters and things like that. It's getting crazy out here. And unless we pull the reins back, and unless we can get you all to understand a better way to communicate and that we are listening, these problems will continue to control our abilities to be happy, to thrive as a company, as a business, as a family, or whatever way that we are trying to, get these things that we want to live happy, whatever way that means for you. Yes. What is this? This is an important lesson that we should be sharing. You have to share these messages. Go back and watch those episodes because I'm taking you there gradually. And I told you why. Because we need to be in a more positive headspace, a more positive mental space. What is this? Absolutely. And what is Jackie saying? Not being focused doesn't help what we want to accomplish. Thank you, Jackie. So I know y'all know, and one speaks for 10,000. So I know you all are understanding exactly what I'm saying and exactly where I've been trying to bring you along with me on this journey from February 14th, Valentine's Day of this year. I told you I'm trying to take you somewhere with me, and I'm going to explain it to you so that you can trust. And I don't have to be there with you, and you don't have to inbox me to ask me what you should trust and what you should know. That's why a lot of people have been asking me to come out of the background and tell it, let more people know. I'm coming out of the background. I'm not used to doing all this talking. So y'all got to bear with me. You got to bear with me. We need positive education and focus and implication in our society. Yes, implication, that means to apply it. That means we need to have this stuff applied. So now, that's why we should care. That's why we have to care. That's why we are out here with this guided perspective, trying to lead you to understand so we know how to get the changes we want to see happen. Okay? Tell them what to what to put up with. Oh, not Okay, so basically, a lot of people say, "Hey, I just want to tell these people, get them off my back. I'm gonna tell them. I'm gonna tell them. I'm gonna tell it like it is. They ain't gonna be happy, but I'm finna tell it. I'm finna tell it." Yeah, calm down. Get the emotions out of it so that they can understand what you're saying, so you could communicate more effectively without all the emotions. But yeah, tell them exactly what it is, where to put it, and to smoke it if that's what you're trying to say. But you have to understand that there's a way to tell them so that they have to listen. But if you say it in a particular way, they don't have to listen. They can claim they didn't understand anything you said. They could claim that everything you said was incoherent to the point where it was just babble and they don't have to do anything about it. Write it down. Write it down and send it. That's why I keep encouraging you to go back to those companies. I don't care how long ago, if that company still exists and you used to work for that company. If I worked for Woolworth, for example, of course, they don't exist anymore. But had they did this, maybe they would. Okay. If I worked for Woolworth and they were really unprofessional, they didn't care about me. They saw that I was sick and didn't give me sick leave or whatever the problem was. They gave me OT and I told them I'm tired of this OT. You need to hire some more people or you need to give me double my pay. And they weren't paying me double my pay. They were paying me regular salary or whatever the hourly wages that you're supposed to be paid. You need to put that out there. You need to say that. Don't just say, in your emotions. Oh, I'm so sick of this BS. I'm gonna do this. They're gonna meet me outside. And don't do that. We need to understand what you're saying. And if you have to, a lot of times people cry when they're trying to communicate because they're trying so hard to hold back the emotions that they really want to say. They're trying so hard to not put their hands on people. They're trying so hard to allow God to bridle their tongue so that they don't say some stuff that's gonna make them question. I thought you said you were saved. I thought you said you was a Christian. Yes, you have to teach people how to treat you. And if you're not telling them these things, they're not learning. What they're doing is validating mistreating you. That means they're going to keep on mistreating you and say, see how ignorant that person is. See how they couldn't communicate like an adult. See how they act so ignorant. You have to do this. And it's going to benefit you more than you know because they know you're mindful. They know you're not stupid. They know you're not willfully ignorant. They they know that it's you're fed up. They know you're tired. They know that they have agitated you and antagonized you to the point where you're going to perpetuate some stereotypes that they already know because studies have shown. Now, I can put it out here, but now that you see that I'm telling you the truth and it's legit, just take my word for it or go study and see. Go Google and see incivilities in the workplace, Machiavellianism in the workplace. Go and Google these things so that you can see for yourself that they are aware. Mindfulness in the workplace. Go and see. I'm telling you, they know that you are, and they know how to antagonize you and push you to the edge. And if you go, that's one thing that I liked about Michelle Obama. She is showing that no, you agitate me and you're trying to provoke me to do this, but any person will fall for that. It's not about perpetuating particular stereotypes like the angry black woman or the angry black man. It's not about perpetuating those stereotypes. It's about the matter of the fact that you pushing these particular people especially hard because you want to try to make it seem like these stereotypes are real and it is not. We are all human and everybody has a button you can push. And if you know that they're trying to push your buttons, walk away. Don't let them do it. Don't let it be successful when you know that that's what they're trying to do. And because that's a part of putting yourself in a negative headspace and how we are in our own way and we don't even realize it, but we can't control it. What you say, Jackie? They must know how you feel without extra emotions. Yes, and all that clapping that everybody's doing, trying to get the person's attention. We don't want to always clap. We don't want to always clap. And I understand the reason for the clap because you are drowning out the noise. You are drowning them out and letting them know you're not hearing nothing they are saying because everything they are saying is ignorant. Say that. Stop with the clapping and tell them, I'm not hearing anything you're saying because it's redundant. Use these words, redundant meaning, we already been over this. I'm not going through this with you again. You know good and well that you're ignorant and that you're trying to provoke me, and I'm not going to let you do it. How about you tell me the next person that's over you, and I talk to that person because clearly you ignorant. You trying to make me seem like I'm ignorant. How about I talk to the next person above you, and then get to the next person above that person until you find out who it is that's in charge of hiring all these ignorant people that's pushing your buttons. What you say, Jackie? Stop clapping back. I learned it for that experience. Yeah, a lot of people, we don't even understand why people may look at us the in a negative light. And once we find out, we should share that information with other people. So the reason why I'm telling you stop with all this is because they just looking at you like, yeah, see, I did it. I got them to act just as stupid as I knew I could. I got them to act just as stupid as I know they would. I got them to act just as stupid as the stereotype says and classifies them as being. Stop. Stop. Now, I could be on here with my bonnet. I could be on here with my head scarf, my little silk head wrap or whatever, and all that. Don't do that. You have to present yourself. That's why I like the way my Uncle Fred Shuttlesworth and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. did when they were trying to implement the changes we wanted to see in the now, in the present time, not in the future time. Now, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. did say that he had a dream that those changes would take place, even though he wouldn't live to see it. So he had to understand that his work was not in vain, so that he could feel motivated as a human to understand that this is the sacrifice that you're about to make, and it's going to be well appreciated. So we have to understand we want to see the changes now, and this is how we're going to see it. Back then, they used to dress appropriately. They used to dress for where they were going, not where they were, but where they were going. That's why you will hear them say things like, "Put your Sunday's best on." This is what they told them: "Put your Sunday's best on and come out here and march and protest and help us fight in this um safe, non-violent way." Because yeah, we were ready. We were ready to meet force with force. That's not always what we want to do, though. They start to think, I can write them up. Have to understand it might be their goal. Can y'all read that? Can y'all read that? Jackie is absolutely right. Because they know the system, they know the process, they know that they can write you up. They know that now I Gotti, while you sitting there talking about Gotti and you on Facebook, social media, and all these other places talking about Gotti and Gotti, oh, you about to lose your job. They doing the same thing to you. They doing the same thing to you, but they know how to play the game, and you don't. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm trying to help you. Agreed. Make your statement, but maintain your decorum. Yes, you have to maintain um your wusa. Just breathe, inhale, exhale. Think about your kids. Think about your mom. Think about all the people that you're helping by not allowing them to push your button. By and think about this. If nothing else helps you, think about this. They about to lose their job. And it's because they were fooling with you. Think about that. Because when it is well known, here's an example. A lot of people, they don't want to mess with white people because white people gonna complain. They're gonna write a letter. They're gonna tell this. They're gonna tell that. They're gonna get their lawyer this. They're gonna get their lawyer that. Lawyers are not exclusive to any particular culture. Writing a letter is effective regardless of what culture you are from. Speaking your mind and letting it be known what is wrong is is not particular to one culture, one gender, one age group. It is everyone. That is why we are trying to get you to understand this process. And I told you, I don't like it. I don't like the system, the process. I think it's a big excuse for a cop out, for the grand cop out, for doing things wayward. And a lot of people are being discovered, but a lot more people will be discovered if we were to make our voices known. And how do we do that and protect ourselves? Because we don't want to lose what we have for saying what we're saying, even though it's true. We don't want to lose what we have. This is how. Go back and watch those videos because I promise you, I'm trying to help you. What did Jackie say? Maintain your respect and professionalism. When they see that, it will turn around for you. That is true. That is true. And that's one thing that I loved about Michelle Obama. She turned it around. They called her all kinds of names. They said all sorts of indignant things about her character, about her femininity, about how she looked. They did so many terrible things to her. But everything that they did, she understood. We all should understand because it's not new to us. It's not new. Our approach and the way that we treat it, that's new. That's new with every encounter, every occurrence. So, yeah, you pass that test, but it's coming back. And you have to keep maturing. You have to keep showing that you have matured beyond this antagonistic BS of, oh, I'm going to act crazy. Oh, I'm going to start all this. Oh, I'm about to meet me outside. Don't meet them outside. Let them know you're going to get a lawyer because you can. And a lot of these lawyers, they work pro bono. That means for free so that they can make a name for themselves. And they're going to win that case. They're going to win that case because they're trying to make a name for themselves. And they can't do it if they have a losing streak. Okay. So don't be afraid to get a lawyer that says, I'll get paid if you get paid. If I don't get paid, we don't get paid because that's where the money's going to come from. Don't be afraid to work with somebody or learn about somebody who works for free on particular cases when particular people or groups of people are in need of help. What did Jackie say? Yes, she definitely did. Yeah, she did that. She did us proud, sis. She did us proud because I'm so tired of people saying that African American women, and a lot of times we're not even pure, purebred. We are a blend of various cultures, but yet they try to say black people have this stereotype. Who are you talking about? Who are you talking about? Because a lot of us visibly are seeing that we're not just African American descent. We're not just African descent. There's some other stuff in us. So are you saying that we are the worst of all the cultures? That the blend of the cultures? Because it's all in us. So stop saying that stop putting these stereotypes out here like that. One thing that about the alphabet community, I don't like to put any one letter above the other because I don't like to get into that political debate about what letter comes first and how many letters there are. So about the up and coming community, they're saying they want to be seen for who they are as an individual, not as a group, not as a label, not by any other measure. They just want to be seen for who they are and what they're showing you that they are. African Americans have been saying that for so long now that it is ridiculous because when we were brought here, that's why I said, are you watching my husband's episodes about history and making these connections so you will understand the reason why people are asking for reparations, people are asking to be seen as an individual, people are saying that they don't fit that particular stereotype. They don't fit it because they are a blend of various cultures, not just one. They already think we're combative and aggressive. Show them different. Amen, sis. Look, I can tell you, even right now, I'm going through a thing where I don't like to tell what I'm going through when I'm going through it, but I'm gonna share this with you since you said that. I'm smiling at these people. I'm being nice to these people. I'm using language that's as plain as I do on my show. Even though these are PhD experts and they can understand these $1 million words, but I do it because I'm trying to show myself friendly. I'm trying to show myself being non aggressive, non combative. But you know what they did? They still said exactly what you did, that I'm combative and aggressive. Imagine that. I have never had the experience where someone that was educated, that knew what was going on, and this goes up pretty high, and they say that, like, you don't know I'm mindful. You don't know I'm already at that level. You don't know. It's like, what are you doing? What's your end goal? Your end goal must be to meet my legal team. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. That must be your end goal. Because I understand. I am mindful enough to understand that legal legal ease is for everyone. That is about everyone. It's not exclusive to a particular culture, a particular a level of intelligence. It's about these lawyers want to make a name for themselves and they're looking for a legit case. They're looking for whatever it is they need to to be that platform for them to soar from. And I'm telling you, a lot of African Americans have the platform they are looking for so that they can make a name for themselves, like OJ Simpson's lawyer, like R. Kelly's lawyer. I like the one lawyer out there that's going around taking all of these cases for the African American community and NAACP. Let me tell you, these times are of the pandemic. It's not even COVID anymore. It's just a pandemic. Pandemic meaning it's worldwide. This situation has allowed the world to see that African descendants of all sorts around the world having these problems, and they need to fix it. They have to address it, especially because it is not exclusive to a particular social group. Meaning, it don't matter how much money you have. This is your problem. It doesn't matter um, who you are, who you know, or how many white people you know, or family with, or friends with, or they say that you're a good person, or they'll vouch for your character. And I don't even submit those letters of recommendations from the people that I know, because my thing is, if you're a good person, if this is a good organization, you're not going to change. And it's not about who I know that you know, and who I know that knows to make these changes that they said are here, and I should experience these changes. It's not about that. It's about what's real, what's factual, not just because I know these people, but because anybody who looks like me, even a little like me, or a whole lot darker than me, they're going to have this experience. So I'm not going to tell you nothing. I'm not going to tell you who I know. Yeah, Ben Crump. Thank you, Teddy. I couldn't, I'm terrible with names. I'm terrible with names. I'm trying, Jackie. I'm trying. It's about, we're seeing it a lot in these YouTube videos where people are getting caught up and losing their job for these things that they're saying, because your words explain and show us your thoughts. So if you out here being a Karen or whatever you're doing, it's this world is under a it's not, put the magnifying glass away. It's under a microscope. And that's gonna tell your DNA, okay? You're going to be removed. So what I would like to see is what I know we should be. Not, I don't want to report anything bad about anybody, but I'm gonna let the evidence speak for itself, and I'm gonna point you in a direction so you can find it and come to that conclusion for yourself. Because I'm not gonna speak negativity about anybody, because we're all trying to make a living. Hackers, computer hackers too. They try to make a living. I'm not speaking ill of anybody that's trying to make a living, but there's a right way and there's a more desirable way to do things that it won't hurt people. And that's what I'm trying to get at. So we can all be happier and in a much healthier mental headspace. But that's my time for today. I hope you watch this. I hope you share it. And remember, these are progressive interactive shows. So I'm going to keep on progressing to the next level and the next level gradually to get you where you are going to be in a better place than you are now. A lot of times, if you don't do the things that we're telling you, then you won't get there. So if we suggest you do something, try doing that thing. So on the next episode, you could come back and tell us what questions you have. How is it that you could do this? How am I supposed to get here from where I am now? How am I supposed to get there where you're trying to get me to be? Because we don't know what you don't understand unless you say something in the comments. So please, that's why it's interactive. Say things in the comments. Say things in my husband's episodes and the comments. Say things, because if you don't say anything, no one knows. Just like these jobs. If you don't say anything in the comments, if you don't say anything in the suggestion box, if you don't go back to their website and say it on their website, they can claim they do not know and they do not understand. So let's get it together and rewind, fast forward through it, play it double speed. Play it at double speed. I do that. Great show. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, sis. I appreciate you coming and staying throughout. And I promise you, it's going to get better and more interactive and more business like. But I'm trying to juggle it all. We gotta have a balance. We have to have a balance, because without that balance, and we overly focus on one thing, we can't get that balance. Exactly. Closed mouths don't get fed. So we have to understand that, and how we are in our own way, so that we can see the changes that we want right here, right now, because we are saying something, but can they understand what we're saying? Did it get to the right people for us to see the changes? And we can do this in a moral and ethical manner without being agitated and cursing folks out and putting our hands on folks. Okay? So we're going to get there, but work with me, work with me. Say something in these comments. Say something in these comments. Okay, that's my time. Play in the background as you do things. The teaching is for you. you to grow and rise. Yes. If you plan these episodes in the background while you're working and doing whatever it is you're doing, still hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, share so that somebody who's going through and not saying nothing, cause like I do, I go through and I don't say anything. If they're going through and they're not saying anything, this gonna hit home. These episodes that my husband is putting out there, these episodes I'm putting out there, it's gonna hit home and it's not gonna be over their head because this is what they're living. This is what they're going through. All right. So I appreciate everybody for coming. I see y'all next Monday.